Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio, everybody. What is going on? It is Gale here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Season 5 video. And today, we are here to do the cut contents for Season 5's Episode 15, the final episode of the season. And of course, this video will feature everything that was cut from the light novel in the anime and nothing else. Of course, if you want to check out my review of Season 5's Episode 15, be sure to go check it out. It was uploaded a few days ago. And of course, we also got confirmation on when the announcement for the 10th anniversary of the anime is going to be happening, so be sure to go check out that video that was uploaded yesterday. Of course, if you guys want to enjoy today's video as well, please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more content, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below as to what cut contents you guys would have liked to have seen. Now, I know you guys overwhelmingly will say one specific cut contents, but on top of that, if there's anything else that you guys would have liked to have seen in the anime, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Now, let's start off with the very beginning of the episode in terms of the cut contents, as at the initial point when everybody is getting up and getting ready to fight Ottar again, in the light novel, Ryu uses Rhea Vindemi, which is of course a healing ability from her Astrea record magic ability that she's got going on, where she's able to use the magics of all her former familiar members, of course, right? And Rhea Vindemi is the healing ability from Mario, the Astrea Familiar's healer before the Juggernaut decimation. And the reason why I find it a bit odd, to be quite honest, I don't think this is something that they should have skipped out on personally to me, because it would have made far more sense if Ryu did use Rhea Vindemi, because it would have helped people understand that, you know, as to why and how everybody was able to get up and get going again. Basically, Rhea Vindemi is a group healing ability, not obviously like Noah Heal, which is her other ability. Noah Heal is able to only heal a singular person at a time. Rhea Vindemi would be a better ability to use to heal a group of people, and so it would have made it a little bit better in that sense to help people understand as to how they were able to get back on their feet and continue fighting. Now, also on top of that, there is another line that is said by Hayden right after, which is of course skipped in the anime because of the no healing mention, of course, right, as to how they were healed. But even though they're healed, their mind, which is of course, if you guys don't know what mind is in Danmachi, it's basically mana and how they're able to use more magic. And basically Hayden says that their mind is still low, so that would have helped in understanding some other things later that happens later on in the episode. Now, we move on a little bit forward to, of course, when Hestia does Bell's status update, which is conducted in the anime, of course, but it doesn't go into full details as to how it changed him. I actually got a lot of people asking me if he leveled up at that time, and, you know, people were asking me what Bell's level was at the end of the season, and no, his level is still the same. He's still level 5. All he got was a stats update. Now, the stats update was pretty big because it gave him 999 points across all of his abilities, across all of the key areas, I should say more specifically. Like his strength went from 41 to 222, endurance went from 39 to 340, dexterity went from 49 to 245, and agility went from 77 to 311, and magic was 4 to 98. So he got a good stats boost, but he never got a level up. That is completely false, and if people are telling you he got a level up, they are incorrect. He only got a status update which boosted his stats, and that's it. So I wish the anime did a better job there in showing that, and this is something I've been complaining about for the last 5 years. 10 years, I should say, the last 5 seasons and the last 10 years, as to one of the problems I have with the Danmachi anime is that they failed to show the whole leveling system and the stats system in Danmachi really well. I think it's one of the best parts of Danmachi, and it's why I'm very excited to, of course, see, you know, how the characters grow and everything in the light novel. But in the anime, it feels a lot less impactful, which is, I think, the wrong thing for them to have done. But alas, that's what we have gotten, and so it's my job, and of course other YouTubers' jobs, and Redditors, and so on and so forth, theorists, lore people, whoever it is, to explain the whole system a lot better. Another key point that's missing from the anime, and this is the big one, this is the one that I think everybody in the community, and of course I myself pointed out also immediately while the episode was airing, is while we had cut away from the fight itself to see Eyes, Aina, the crowd in Orario, Finn, Gareth, and so on and so forth, we cut away to see them. They never said a single word, which is the complete opposite of what happened in the light novel. There were points in the light novel where each character would say something super significant or exclaim cheers and shouts of support, from characters like Finn calling for Bell to surpass him, to Gareth and Riveria shouting out exclaims of keep attacking him, and Eyes and Lafia saying to win and not to lose as well. This happens not once, not twice, but 3 times in the light novel, as it happens twice during the Ottar fight. One at the very early point, basically the second time being when Bell is going into that combo motion to go and use the Argo attack on Ottar, right, using that punch of his, right? And then of course at the end when Bell is outpacing Alan, that is when they proclaim cheers again as well. And in the anime, we missed out on it big time, which is of course one of the saddest things to see and very unfortunate things to see, because, you know, I think even Eyes haters would have loved to have seen that, because the thing is, for me, when people are cheering and when people are gassing up and telling people to go ahead and do it, you know, even in this episode itself, when Loki and Hermes are cheering on Bell and stuff, right? That is what we should have had with everybody, because it would have added more to the episode itself. It would have added to the hype of the episode, and them skipping out on it was a massive issue for me personally. And I think of course there are people even more annoyed than I am. I'm like, you know what, I'm very disappointed that they didn't do it, but alas, that's how they've done it, and that's how they're gonna be, like, unfortunately. But other people are way more mad than I am in regards to this, and I completely understand it, because it is an integral thing. It just goes to show how many people have been changed by Bell's existence, and so them skipping out on this is a bit of a disappointment, of course, right? In the anime, we also completely skipped and glossed over one of the key issues with Ottar using his transformation and the trigger skill that is attached to it in Vana Arganture. While the skill gives him a huge boost in his stats and his abilities and his moves, it acts like a level up as well, by the way, which is the reason why we saw Loki and Beth saying he was basically a level 8 at the start of the episode. He has to use a huge amount of stamina and mind to be able to maintain the transformation. So much so that his own auto heal skill ability that he has an auto heal skill ability, would not make up for it. This was not really portrayed and explained at all in the anime, as in the light novel we not only had the description, but for one, the first point here is that Freya actually yells out for Ottar to stop using it and stop hurting himself by using it, which is completely skipped in the anime. Again, why? I don't know. Ottar also internally in the description of the text right after, you know, mentally apologizes for not listening to her, and that he's doing this to protect her. Which once again, it doesn't show, you know, Freya's good side in the anime at all, which is kind of disappointing, to be quite honest. The second thing as well is that it also avoids portraying the downsides of the skill at the end of the fight, and because when Bell takes down Ottar, right, I remember even saying this when I did my reaction, live reaction. In the anime, it just shows Ottar, you know, just giving up basically and doing nothing and asking Bell if he can save her and stuff, which is fine. That all happens indeed, but he also says in the light novel, and which is not in the anime, that he cannot move for 5 minutes, and he's only giving Bell that 5 minutes in order to reach Freya and take the flower before he gets up and starts attacking him again. That's completely avoided. It just makes it feel like Ottar's ability has no real downsides to it whatsoever, basically, which is the complete wrong thing. It actually does have downsides, but we just don't see it in the anime at all, basically, and we just see Ottar giving up. We don't see Freya's good side. That never happens in the anime, which is really disappointing and a big problem to me personally as well. I think that's one of the worst things as well about the cut contents. While I do think that the cheers and everything is also very important. I think this was a little bit more significant for this season in particular, in my opinion, with Freya, the Freya Familia, their stubbornness, their arrogance, you name it, right? I think this would have been perfect to have, and they skipped out on it, which is kind of disappointing, to be quite honest. It really is. The other thing that was sort of skipped out on, I'll explain why I don't think it was completely skipped out on, but it was kind of skipped out on, was when Lily was yelling for help, and of course Welf comes to rescue Belle. They don't really explain it, right? They show it, but they don't explain it. This is something I dislike, and I don't like that they're not portraying it properly, is because I don't think it shows how much Lily loves her familia. Her new ability that they don't talk about or show at all in this episode, after leveling up, of course, remember she leveled up at the very beginning of the season, is mind call. She has this new ability which allows her to basically telepathically communicate with people who share the same blessing as her. And rather than using those small Oculus's balls that we had in the episode, right, that we've had throughout the War Games episodes, right, the red, blue, yellow balls that allowed them to communicate, she actually uses this ability to communicate and connect her with Welf and Belle as well. You see the blessings shine up behind their backs, right? At the end of the episode, that is portrayed, but they don't explain it at all, in my opinion. They don't explain why this ability is so good for Lily and why it also shows how much Lily loves her familia. I think, while they did portray it, I think they could have easily done a thing where they could have been saying it, over the top or something like that, or Lily could have had a flashback to when Hestia would explain the ability to her or something like that, because I feel like missing out on it is a huge reason why, people may not like Lily. It's again one of those things, like I've had people saying like, oh, Lily was just crying throughout the entire season doing nothing basically, and it's like, well, no, that's not really true, because she has commanded, she did plan out the entire thing with Finn. She got help from Finn up, absolutely, because Finn is one of the best commanders in Orario. But in the meantime, she's also getting to that point. Remember, she's only been really in action and commander for only like 2 or 3 months since she took point during the Deep Floors experience and everything, right? But it shows that she can be a really good commander, and also with that, more importantly to me, it shows her bond with the Hestia Familia, and more specifically, the bond that she's developed with Belle and Welf ever since they started adventuring 6 months ago. You know what I mean? I think it would have been so amazing to have, but alas, that's what we got. But with that is all the cut contents for episode 15. Mainly 3 or 4 things were skipped out on. I think in total, I think it's like 4 or 5 things actually. 4 or 5 things. We've done the cut contents for episode 15. That's all we've got for the season in terms of the episodes. But for season 5 as a whole, I'm not just done yet. No, I have one more thing I want to do more specifically, and that is of course talking about Freya and her backstory. That's not going to be in this video. That will be a separate video entirely, and the reason why I want to do it is because it was just skipped out entirely. Ever since episode like 5 or 6, I've been saying, oh, they'll do it this episode, they'll do it this episode, they'll do it this episode. They never ended up doing it, and it was ignored entirely in season 5, and I think that's the biggest error JC Staff and Amori have made in regards to the season. Now, you might be wondering, Gail, why am I saying Amori? It's just JC Staff, right? Well, no, Amori has been doing meetings with the directors and producers and everything. The production company has been also meeting with JC Staff. This is by his own words. This is by the words of the Danmachi anime production team. Amori has been involved in the season heavily, but they've had to make decisions, of course, according to the amount of episodes that were given to them and the amount of episodes that they had. And so they've had to make some really interesting decisions that a lot of people may like or dislike, and I think more people dislike these decisions. And so we need to talk about, things that they just skipped out on, which I think would have been super important for the season. So Freya's whole backstory, that'll be a separate episode as well. That will be coming out soon, but not before I do the final season review, which will be hopefully coming out either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that. But yes, this is it. That is all for cut contents for Danmachi season 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the season as a whole, of course, right? I know we've had a lot of ups, downs, roundabouts, loop-the-loops and everything along the way. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, basically, is what it has been. But honestly, I still think the season as a whole was fairly well done for the episode count we had and everything, right? I think they've made more or less, outside of like a couple of things here and there, for the most part, I would say 80% of the decisions they made in terms of the cut contents has been fairly on the bullseye. Basically, it's been on point, but I feel like especially in the more recent episodes it's been more noticeable. I think partially because it's the war games, it's the finale, you don't want it to be rushed, you don't want to have them missing out on certain key points, and I feel like in the recent episodes it's been more noticeable and a little bit worse in terms of decision making. But yeah, outside of that, I think, at least at the very start of the season, every time they do cut contents, I'd be like, they made the right decision and everything. But yeah, it is what it is, in that sense, it is what it is. Now, of course, let me know, like I said, in the comment section down below, what cut contents would you guys have liked to have seen the most in this episode in particular, and overall in the entire season as well. Let me know what you guys would have liked to have seen the most that they skipped out on. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao, everybody. Bye-bye.